All right, so here we go. So the last thing we did was splitting strings with partition. What is the difference between partition and split? Maddie?
Split, segments, like either a list or a string by whatever, by the argument that you put in. Partition, it keeps the first one of whatever you put in, of like the argument you put in, but gets rid of all the rest.
Yes, so if we split this between an I, what will result?
TH. Wait, does it take out the I or no? I forgot. It does. Yes. So it'll be like TH.
So it's a list in which the I's are gone, and you split everything up by I. Notice 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we have 5 different elements in this list. If we go to partition, granted it's a tuple, so slightly different. We have the beginning, the partitioner, after. So we have before, thing, after. Only 3 elements in this tuple, and we can't edit them. We can edit this list. So yes, Maddie was right in what she said. This is just a demonstration of it. How often will you use partition? It's a great question. I don't know. But again, a lot of coding is knowing you can do something and being able to look it up. Again, my wife, software developer, uses Google all the time. And if you subscribe to the programmer humor on Reddit, like 50% of the jokes are how Stack Overflow is supporting 90% of the world's code. So if Stack Overflow dies, then the infrastructure for the universe will implode.
The entire universe.
The entire universe.
Oh, it's not just Earth.
Not just Earth, everywhere. Anything that has any electricity, which is everything because everything has electrons, although that's not entirely physics true, but it's close enough. Oh, also, I read, and again, I don't know how true this is, that every single body emits light. Like it's some sort of special super, super low light.
Wait, so like if there's almost absolutely no light, you'd be able to see light coming from your
I think it has to be, it's some sort of special filter or something like that. Because like your body is radiating infrared radiation. That's what being able to see, like in video games, the IR, infrared. Your body's emitting that, but in order to emit visible light, typically metals have to get to a certain temperature to start emitting light, but most metals melt at that point, except tungsten, which is why it's used for the incandescent light bulb, which is also why it gives off heat. It's because it has to physically heat up that metal to a point where it produces light. It's like 30% of the heat of the energy that goes into a light bulb, it comes out as heat, not even light. Something like that, I don't know, percentage-wise, but anyway. Yeah, well, so let's get back to what we're actually talking about. I don't know that much about physics, so. So now we're going to do justification of text. So you guys all know what that is: right justified, left justified, and center. So justified text is no, what is it doing? I'm such a fast typer. No, do not include it's including the So, this text over here is not justified because you have this really big chunk. And what we want up here is you can do center, which will center the text, or you can do right justified. Or you can do everything justified. So it will put hyphens or whatever here. This justification is what they do in newspapers. So they don't have the empty space on the side here, so they could probably fit more. Notice how the lines go up a little bit so you can fit more print on a page. So we're going to learn how to do that with code.
Oh, wait, does that mean like he doesn't, for like a print off? Oh, okay, never mind.
Yeah. So again, I'm just going to do this in the shell. So we're going to go hello. We don't have to import anything. So hello, here's our string dot rjust 10. So what this will do is it will give you 10 spaces for hello. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then hello.
So it goes to the end of it?
Yep, because I have rjust, so it's justified to the right.
Oh.
If I do ljust, now it's hello, but this is all part of the string. So if I want to make sure that I am printing a list, so you could do something like this plus hello. But I could also do apple. You know, I'm just going to put it up here. So we got 12 oranges, we got 50 bananas, we have 1 thing of oil, and 100 applesauces. Although I think that's going to look a little funky, because I think applesauce is more than whatever. So student folders, student resources. So, what do you notice?
No matter how long the word is, except for applesauce, the letters still go the same. Like,
Where's your surface?
I'm sorry, copying this down.
Yeah.
Alright.
So each item takes up 10 spaces, but so we don't get an error if what we want to justify is greater than the space we give it. Does that make sense? It takes up what it takes up and then it adds this. So we can fix this and we can make this, let's do 14. Boom. Now, what do you guys think of that? If we were adding how many items individually are being brought, that's a little, is that 50 or is that 5?
So you have to write justify. So
Dot R justify, or R just, and we'll do 3. For each thing, copy, paste, 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 paste. Now when we run it, so much easier for our human brains to read. Make sense? Now, who here has ever been reading a book and you see the table of contents and it has those little dotted lines across? Y'all seen that? Well, it's very easy to do that. All we gotta do is put a comma. What do you want to be separating these?
like tildes or like
Tildes?
or like like dashes.
Well, do you want tildes or dashes?
Tildes. Like tilde.
So let me just copy this. And then we just do the same thing on the other side. If you want to. You don't have
So
to.
what does that do?
So see the difference? There's nothing in front of this one,
Oh, okay.
but now there's, so it will follow it to the end if you put it here. If you don't, and I'll just get rid of those so you can see the difference, you have that space. So again, this is very important if you want to make a text menu that's readable to the user. Or, granted, we don't get into TK-Enter, which is how you make your own user interfaces. If we have time, we can do that, but I don't know if we will. So you can display like a table of contents or whatever for your code if you're doing a book or whatever. Now, so that's left and right justification. Let's do computer science careers, because I see that in the background right there. Dot center. Yeah, and notice it does also give you this little prompt, or at least it should.
Yeah, because it's not completed.
Yeah, so it says width, great. So width is how many characters you want this to take up, and do you have a fill character? And it says returns a centered string of length width. So we want 20. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, so let's make this 35. There we go. Computer science careers. Now, if there is an even or an odd number of spaces to go on each side, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5. Meaning, it will put more on the right side than the left. And I don't think you can change that. You would just change this to 36. And again, with this, oops. What do you want our fill character to be?
Asterisks.
Everyone good with that? Okay. So let's run through this little code in the book. Do we have a picnic? No, okay. So we create the dictionary in here. So define, so again, this is on page 141 if you want to go through it in the book, or it's in the justifying text with rjust, ljust, and centered methods. I'm going to run through this and you're going to see why we would actually use this, especially for creating a menu or whatever, and more likely, what's the best way to implement this? So as opposed to just, well, how would I do this with the dictionary? That's exactly what we're going to do right now. Again, this is in the book, so if you want to follow along, if I go a little fast, let me know, and we'll go from there. So we're going to print picnic. And we're going to give this items, let's do items, left width, right width. So basically, we're going to give it a dictionary. We're going to tell it the left justification and the right justification. So how much width do we want on either end of our strings? So, and then we're going to go print picnic items dot center left width plus right width and then for k comma v in items dot items. Items is the dictionary we pass to this function. And so once you're all done, raise your hand if you can explain to me what this line is doing.
It's
Hang on, when you're done. Did you copy all this?
yeah.
Okay.
Is it displaying the contents of the dictionary items?
It is, but why? What is items dot items?
Wasn't dot items like its own function, like built-in method? That built-in method,
It is a built-in method that gives me what?
the items and their keys.
Items and the what?
Is it the keys and the values?
Yep. What were you gonna say, Thorn?
Yeah, I was just gonna say it cycles through the keys and the values in the dictionary.
Yes, it will return for every key and value. That's why we have both of these here. It will assign to K the key and V the value. So this is, again, multiple assignments. We do this also in one of the next two chapters where we cycle through an entire folder directory. So for K, V in items, dot items, we're going to print K dot left width. Oh, hang on, I skipped this. K dot L just left width. Sorry about that. And we're gonna have the boom 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 plus now strv. Since we're dealing with picnic items, our value is going to be an integer. Can we justify an integer? Has to be a string.
Yeah, maybe that's
strv dot rjust, and then we're gonna go right width. Oop, and that's all we're gonna do.
Wait. Remember like with the thing that did last time where like left dots before?
Yeah, it's gonna leave dots, and if you don't like that, you can change it.
Oh, yeah.
But for this example, we're gonna leave it as is. Okay, so this is what you would need to display the items in a dictionary. So all we're gonna now do is we need to create the dictionary. So let's go picnic items. Gosh, man, I cannot. Picnic items. There we go. And we're gonna have sandwiches. Sandwich sounds really good right now. I didn't eat lunch. Now, again, one of the cool things you can do with dictionaries, we have 12 apples, is after a comma, if you hit enter, so that you can see stuff better on screen, you can do this, and that's what I'm going to do, so that you all can see slightly better. Cups, comma, 4, no, it's not comma, it's that 4, comma, and then we got cookies. This is my type of picture. 8,000 cookies.
Yeah.
So then what we're gonna do is we're gonna take print picnic. We're gonna run it twice. And the first time we're gonna do it with picnic items. And then we're going to do 12, 5. Now before you all look at the code and run it, what is the difference between these two? Why do I have 12 instead of 20 and 5 and 6? What's going to make it change?
It's gonna be like more spaced out.
It's going to be more spaced
Why
out. Yeah, that's about it. So this is the first one. So we have 12 characters of space basically for this and 5 for this. So I'm not going to count that out because we're going to assume it's right. But notice we also have picnic items up here, so we're centering it to be dead center as much as we can. So this is taking up 17 spaces because it's adding 12 and 5. The second one is taking up 26 spaces because of 20 and 6. So again, this is really where you would display information. You want it to be easy to read. This is everyone's grade. This is, I have a dictionary in which every key is the student name, and then the value for every student is another dictionary with every class being the key, grade being the value. So you could cycle through and say Maddie, justify, and then you can have every class and grade if you have a dictionary inside of a dictionary. Do you guys have questions? Do you guys all have this copied down? Okay. Is this the correct schedule? No, that's last semester. Although it should be pretty much the same. 113? That's about right. Okay. So, real quick, removing white space. This is really important for passwords and usernames. So you really don't want to have space. This is why spaces and passwords typically aren't allowed, is because they can't run this strip of white space. Now, white space can be spaces, tabs, or new lines. At least it can be used with all 3 of those. So we're going to run through this real quick. So we're going to go spam is. Now this is kind of annoying, right? Alright, let's say we're building a text editor or a text-based game. This sort of stuff will screw up, say, our display of the menu. Because if it says Thorin's inventory, but Thorin is filled with spaces, because I didn't code to get rid of them and the person accidentally headbutted their keyboard, now we're going to have Thorin's inventory and it's going to cover up everything. Like, it can really get an issue. So the way we do that is we just do spam doc. If you do strip, it gets rid of both left and right, but it doesn't erase, it doesn't rewrite the variable. It modifies it and gives you the non-white space version of that variable. Does that make sense? So it doesn't rewrite. It's not like sort with a list where, remember, I don't know if you guys remember, but if you sort a list, that list is sorted. It doesn't give you a sorted version of the list. It rewrites the original list. So this does not, spam still has all those circles, or all the spaces. So I would have to do spam equals spam dot strip. And now spam is just hello. I'm going to come back up here. Now we also have, if we want to get rid of left or right space, spam.lstrip gets rid of the leading characters. L is leading or left. Gets rid of the left side characters.
How does it know to only get rid of the spaces?
Because by default, that's what it does.
Oh. Is there like a number in it?
We'll get there in just a sec. If I have R strip, it stands for rear strip or right strip. So it strips it from the right or the rear. So leading left, rear right. Strip will get rid of everything. Make sense? Okay. Last thing. Now what if I have... Alright, we'll just do this. We'll just copy what the book says. Spam equals... So spam is all that. And if we do spam dot strip, we can put in here and it will strip what we put in here. So it got rid of AMPS. Wait, hang on, how did this... Passing a strip will strip occurrences of A, M, P, and capital S from the ends of the string stored in span. So it gets rid of AMPS, which is that makes no sense. Why would you? It will strip the occurrences of AMP and capital S from the ends of the string. The order of the characters of the string does not matter. Oh, that's why. So that's really, really confusing that this doesn't matter. So basically, if there is an A, M, P, or S at the beginning, it will strip it all. This will return the same.
Does that change the string or no?
No, spam is still all that. That, alright, well, I would have assumed it has to take exactly this, but it's any occurrence of these numbers, or of these letters, before, at the beginning or the end. So, like it says here, this amps will take away the same thing as spam. Now let's go to what Stockton was saying. What if there's numbers? So let's say 1, 2, 3, 4. Oops. And let's say we want to get rid of dot strip. We want to get rid of all zeros, leading and ending zeros. So I'll strip it 0, 0, 0 and strip that. We make this 0, 1, still gets rid of the 1 and all the zeros at the end. That's a little trippy for me, man. Like, I would assume you would have to have 0 and a 1 next to each other to get stripped, but no, it's any occurrence of 0 or 1 at the beginning of a string.
But not like in the middle of it, right?
What?
If you look at 0 in the middle of it.
Well, let's see. So 0, 1, 0, 1. Still maintains it because it's not at the beginning or the end. So if someone types in, let's just do, we could do dot L strip. That was an accidental. And we could very easily get rid of the beginning. Ooh, I wonder if we then did R strip.
I don't think it's gonna work. Oh wait.
Why does that work?
Why'd you go away the who?
Because it gets rid of the O.
Why'd you get rid of the O's?
Because
It got rid of the M, the O, the C, the dot, and I was like, oh, there's more O's. So if we did,
You like make it not do that?
Yeah, you think of
it's
cut
a
it?
very good question.
Like,
maybe there's a better command to use.
Well, you can check and see if it ends with .com, And then if it does, you can just, instead of using strip, you can just say website equals website and slice the name out. So, but that, like, just get rid of .com. Don't get rid of the O. Like, that's weird. I believe we have 1 minute, and we did not get to paperclip. So, what I want you all to do for homework, it's pretty easy, is to follow along the book, and it will tell you how to install it. Basically, you go to command prompt. Actually, let's just do it real quick.
Hacker interface.
So for those of you who don't know how to open command prompt, click on your little magnifying glass, click CMD. This little black window will come up. And all you do pip install paperclip. If you installed Python correctly, it will start to install. If you didn't, you will get an error saying something about a path. So, if you have questions, get that working, and I want you all to go through copying and pasting using paperclip. So it's pretty easy, but I want you guys to go through it, and we'll cover it Wednesday, and we'll go through some other stuff with command line arguments. So when we pass information to command line, we'll need to be able to deal with arguments. So that's it for the day. So just get paperclip installed and understand it, and that'll be it. But again, we will go over it on Wednesday. But that's it for class. That's it for the recording. Adios.